Bam. All right, let's make sure everything is working. Let's get the music going. Do a mic test. Twisting 1, 2. We're live. All right, cool. Sounds like things are working. I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer for marketing the stream. So I will see y'all in 5 minutes. All right. Sweet. Yeah. So today is going to be the design stream with Pat and I.
Hello.
I've done some of the marketing. I'm gonna turn down the audio just a tad, but it's a little bit too hype.
I got my second interview.
Woo! So yeah, that my wife just got a second interview for a game job, so she's excited.
Awesome. That's great.
That was interesting timing. It was Wizards of the Coast, VFX artist, so Magic the Gathering. Pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty dope. All right. So you're gonna be in game, right? And then I'll be doing some design work here. All right, cool. Let me know when you're ready to share your screen, and we can just start chatting about the elements that we can need and stuff for the gym.
I'll be just a second.
Sounds good.
Reel's still opening.
I think I'll use Word.
So we should probably first talk about what we are trying to do as a whole.
Yeah.
Like start this whole thing off.
That's true. Good point. That's good thing I have you on here. Okay, so this is officially my first time doing a design style stream. So I mostly do art, as you know, and Pat here. It's a lot of the engineering stuff, but also like gameplay engineering, which is, so we were talking about the basically doing a mechanics gym, which is something we had to do for grad school. We both graduated from entertainment arts and engineering over the U of U, and one of the things we had to do for our games was making a mechanics gym, blocking out a gym. So like, for instance, if you have a platformer kind of game, then how high can the platforms be? Does your character grab onto the edges of those platforms? And if so, again, how high can they be? How far away can they be from each other without your character just dying and your players hating the game because it's unfair? So this is really a cool way to block out in very, very block out form. No details, no polish, nothing. Just literally blocking out stuff for the mechanics of your game. And basically just making sure that, okay, these are it's like stress testing almost, and also just mechanics testing. And you can do consumables. So say if you have a slowing consumable or you have a damage consumable, this allows you to like walk over and hit the consumable and make sure that every character that you have is interacting with that without that function properly. So rather than having a bunch of like keys on your keyboard you're pressing for, okay, I'm going to activate slow on my keyboard, you actually run into like a box, for instance, that slows your character for a set amount of time. And this is a great way to test that. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the key concepts behind having a gym and separating out the mechanics into these easy to quickly test and see how they're functioning is that lets you really simplify the amount of things you have to focus on at a time. So for example, one of our characters, Mallet Boy, he has one of his passives is that when he hits somebody, they have a status effect. That means next time they get hit, they take extra damage. So instead of having to set up an environment where you have someone playing as Mallet Boy, going over to someone else, hitting them, and then hitting them again, to be able to test this thing at all, we can simply just have a pad, like Daniel was saying, that you can walk over gives you that status effect, and we can from just that see, okay, are the visuals to indicate that this player now has that status effect properly working? Is their next instance of damage also being increased? So it lowers the number of variables and things to worry about at a time.
Totally. And so, since I am more artsy and stuff, I'm actually going to be doing more of a top-down version of this on like this grid for Photoshop as Pat's working in game. And so, yeah, basically we want to just like show off everything that our characters can do, and like for Chaos Kart, for instance, I need to know, okay, how wide can the tracks be, or should they be, for them to be able to drift around and turn and not feel like too stressed when you're turning. Like, you should be able to naturally turn and not hit a wall, for instance. It's important that you have proper like game feel, so players aren't getting frustrated when they're playing your game. All right, so we already have kind of like so what you were making yesterday on the stream.
Yeah.
Do you want to incorporate that as part of the gym as a whole?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Can you, well, when you're ready, can
What
you
up?
bring that up?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
It was misbehaving.
I can mock that up in my sketch, kind of like how you built that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something quick.
I think one thing that we can do is try and section out where we want to put various things so that it's
Exactly.
easier to add more to the gym later. And so we probably, like, on this like top-down view, just let's start with a few boxes that doesn't really matter where they are, right?
Right.
We can have a box that is just combat, right? The combat sub-gym.
Right, exactly.
The race sub-gym. The vehicle sub-gym.
I'll do approximate right now. I think this would be
Yeah. Because we can always move these things around. Like, the whole idea, right, is that it's meant to be helpful.
Yeah.
And so if we're getting bogged down in the details of, okay, well, how do we arrange everything, then we're no longer making it as useful as it could be.
That's true. Yeah. This is all about iteration and stuff. I'm so used to having things like be clean or a specific way. So it really goes against how you normally would make something for a lot of people anyway. Like, because you want it to be like cool and good and stuff, and like right away. And
It's hard.
it is. It's hard not to get into detail and want it to be perfect and stuff. So.
For any engineers who would ever potentially listen to this stream, yeah, be okay with not having it be perfect. It's too easy, because it's like, at the end of the day, there's always a more efficient, a more fancy architecture, a more clever architecture you could be coding things in. All that matters at the end of the day is the game playable. And that's something that I know I for sure struggle a lot with, because I get excited when I see cool new ways to implement things. But if all you're doing is just implementing things and never actually having a game, well, you're in a kind of stuck position. So,
Absolutely.
here is my screen. It's going to be slightly laggy just because there's a few shaders compiling.
That's fine.
But 'tis the life.
Here, I'll have you
Oh.
on the bottom here. I'll pop the screen out. There we go. So I'll have us both kind of like split screen mode.
All right. That's good. So these, for example, here are an example of those things that we were talking about, a little thing you can walk over. Because the purpose of this room, like this little spot here, was where I was testing our checkpoint system for the race. Because, like in most Mario Kart-like games, racer games, generally will have checkpoints, like, when you fall off the map, or in our case, if a player like eliminates you, then you will need to respawn at a checkpoint. So instead of trying to make a whole map, instead of trying to have multiple players all hitting each other, instead I can just have this small little loop here. I can have a single character who would like to play. Having to think. In the bottom right, you can see the shaders it's trying to do. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you can see, so it's okay, cool. I'm in this checkpoint. I'm gonna go through this checkpoint. Then if I, for example, walk onto this damage thing, right now, I can just very quickly test to see if the checkpoint updated. That put me into a different location. It's respawning me. So there's a big lag spike, which one thing to know is that Unreal is pretty good at stopping itself from fully crashing, and so if you ever see a big lag spike like that, you generally want to look. And you can see here, there's a big error here. And so, yeah, so this is something I need to look at later. But luckily, I know it's either only in that pad or this character. And I know it's in the pad due to this. Yeah, so like really quick way of testing it. But yeah, so I can continue to. So we have another example of, okay, well we want to have multiple checkpoints that you can go through. So for example, yeah, this one or that one. So if I go through this one, here, I can now test it very easily without having to have an extra player. That's the gist of the goal. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like how you can just like stand on like the damaging platforms and it damages you over time. And like yeah, just showing off the checkpoint. So this is the checkpoint playground, was it? Was that what you called it? Yeah, the checkpoint playground. Okay. So I'm gonna just do top down real quick, and then I'll just put it on this this far right corner right here. So it doesn't have to be exact from like what I'm having it to be. So I'm just gonna do. Okay, we got a box. That's kind of making that circle, that donut. We got a ramp. And then we got the 2 checkpoints that's split up by this like wall thing. So 2 checkpoints, checkpoint here, a prior checkpoint which is like pretty close to it, then 2 checkpoints on this alt side. And okay, cool. So this is our little checkpoint. So I'll just do CP, checkpoint playground. Alright, cool. And so now we have all these additional squares, and yeah, it doesn't have to be a specific way, but so what would be another thing that we could prove out?
So
yeah,
I know one idea that we had was of a little thing that you could go on to do like a speed test, right, to see how fast a vehicle goes.
Yeah.
Over amount of time. And so that's what I'm going to be making here. Is I'm just making a nice big flat platform. I'm going to give it some nice edges just so that I fall off of it. But the main goal with this will just be to have, I'll basically make a small little blueprint that will just, you know, see whenever an overlap happens from the carts. And then there'll be another overlap that will, like, on the opposite end. And that will be able to go, okay, cool, so the player took this long to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. That'd be a good idea. I think this would be kind of cool to have for like acceleration testing too. That could be kind of cool. Like,
we want to figure out, right, how fast we want our different characters to accelerate.
Yeah, like you want smaller characters to probably accelerate faster. That's kind of how they had it in Mario Kart. I know you had that little like, was it that one spreadsheet or whatever of how Mario Kart characters like raced differently. Like just you had like the general base of like, okay, a small character has this much acceleration and that kind of stuff. I forgot what that was. Oh, nice! You already did the quick tab.
Yeah, it's like
cool.
This is game design 101. Look at other people. They've done a lot of thinking, especially big places like Mario Kart.
Yep, Nintendo kind of does their stuff.
Yeah, and that's always like, there's of course a fine line, right, between copying someone else's stuff and using what they've done to learn from. And so, for example, we see a lot of these things here where they have speed, acceleration, weight, handling, traction, grip, mini turbo. And so a question for us, of course, is this the type of spread that we want for our characters? And right now we're more focusing on Jim rather than character design. But like the principle from this, right, is that okay, this is how they chose to separate out their racers, but and their stats. But this, if you also remember, in Mario Kart, there's all like the customization you do to your vehicle, which is separate from this as well. Um, and so, oh yeah, there you go. You see how these apply like modifiers to like what the character has. And so we can see from here that the idea is, okay, cool, your character is the main defining thing, and then your thing adds extra. But what we can take from this is, okay, there's a few different concepts, and we can translate that into our game. So, yeah. I think the biggest thing to really see from this is the relationship between the numbers, because we notice how, like, most of the characters with high speed have lower acceleration,
Right.
higher weight.
Yeah, that's
But the
true.
lighter ones have more handling.
Yeah, so this, it looks like it goes from the lightest to the heaviest from this scale. So this is kind of like
Yeah.
a weight. I'm surprised they didn't do weight first to show that that's kind of what it is, but
Yeah.
but yeah, like this is a weight scale, and so we might have smaller characters. Like for instance, like Talk would be a sort of smaller character, maybe not the smallest character, but yeah, he might be in the same kind of areas like Shy Guy and Toadette and that kind of stuff, relative to our characters. But then we also have flyer characters, which are a little bit different than anything that Mario Kart has.
Yeah.
So we have an additional kind of thing, flyers
Yeah.
for non-flyers. So, I imagine flyers, just like a normal hovercraft, would have probably very little traction since it's not actually on the ground. With maybe like
Is that it doesn't have traction because it doesn't need it because it's not tractioning on the ground.
but then like it all so they might have wider turns, but they also aren't affected by rough terrain. So that's another thing, is that because they're technically not on the ground, areas that would normally slow a racer outside of the normal zone, they wouldn't be affected by it the same way. So that also means that in our gym and in our tracks, we need to make sure that either the flyers just have a volume where they just won't accept that rough terrain, or the rough terrain itself is like touching the ground zone. So people that have wheels will be affected, but people that are above the ground will not. It kind of depends on how we want to manage that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that probably depends a lot on how you're doing it, Pat. Like if there's colliders that are still on the ground and they're just like hovering, then obviously they'll still hit the rough terrain collider. So then maybe just all the flyers just have a volume where they just don't accept it, or just kind of nullifying of rough terrain.
Yeah, so I think the way it's going to probably end up working is that the characters, whenever their like vehicle logic is going right, and it looks at whenever it tries to essentially calculate that information from the ground it's on, because like the hover characters will technically be working like physics-wise with their vehicle as a basis, will be functioning pretty normal. But whenever they essentially do a check for friction, a check for how bouncy a surface is, those kind of things, then it will change how it does the math. So let's double check that I can get up this ramp. Alright, cool. Yeah, right now there's a weird issue where if you see the physics, it's like stopping randomly. Like speeds, stops, speeds, stops, speeds, stops. So that's kind of weird.
Odd, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that like a frame rate issue, or why do you think that
honestly
is?
might be.
Okay.
The physics delta. So what's happening here actually is that the physics is moving too, like the physics simulation is moving too fast compared to the actual real game.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you notice if I'm turning, it doesn't happen as much.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely from your adjustment on the physics, it's definitely more of like, it's not as like the playful jumpy feel you'd get from Rocket League. It is a lot more like Mario Kart, where you're not able to climb up the trees like you were before and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it just nullifies that ability to do that. Now, I think one issue that I ran into prior was when you go up ramps, sometimes it'll do like a full stop.
Oh.
So you just gotta make sure that I guess like there is no lip at all to ramps and stuff.
Yeah.
So that it's an actual proper just ramp. Like what kind of how big of a surface can you like kind of hop over or whatever, or does the ground need to be completely smooth kind of deal?
That's another point for a gym. Because you're
Yeah.
not going to know that information unless you're able to easily test it in a gym.
Right.
And yeah, and so like ideally, right, eventually we do stuff such as like have, for example, a bunch of these, all at different angles. So we can say, okay, cool, here is this angle. Let's make another one next to it that is more steep. And to the left of this one, let's
Yeah,
make
like
one a
what
little.
halts it. Yeah. And then also,
And
how does the ramps affect the carts? Like, because before in the old physics anyway, the carts actually used to like really want to hug the ground, and so a ramp kind of just felt a little bit boring because it just like as soon as it ramped off, you just like fell back in the ground. There was no air time, and that was the old physics. The new stuff I'm not sure about, so it'd be kind of fun to see how like what's the most fun kind of ramp angle. If you slow down too much on a ramp, that's not very fun as well. So kind of just like that feels pretty good.
yeah.
That looked pretty fun. It's like that much
Right.
air time.
Ramp.
I noticed it didn't bounce this time. Like last time when I went up rope ramps, it did a bounce when I hit the ground.
Oh. Yeah, so that's the question. Do we want it to bounce when we hit the ground, or do we like the solid landing? Or would it be we want to have an animation play when you hit the ground and separate that from the physics? Because that's one important
Yeah.
thing too. Is figuring out what stuff we can have get away with by using animation.
Yeah.
Because if we can have, for example, this when he lands, is placed in animation, that would simplify the amount of physics, so that way you don't have to have like a bunch of bouncing and then have questions of, okay, well, how fast of a thingy or whatever, does it require to make the bounce happen, and if it doesn't happen strong enough, versus just, okay, they landed, playing the animation. I wonder if I can
Right.
actually really do that. Let me see if I was smart in how I coded things.
Were you smart in how you coded things?
I don't know. Sometimes I doubt myself. Okay. Let's quickly see. Do I have an on landed? Ask Patrick, please. Yes. Okay. Let's say a vector.
I think what's cool about this is that like if I had never gone to like some kind of design school or something like this is something that I would have never known. And even going like it came and went. Like doing the mechanics gym, we did this like one major time, and it was kind of like it's something that everyone probably should do, because they'll probably start you'll start like trying to make design decisions without having a mechanic gym, and I think it can be easily overlooked, but I think it's just super important, and also it's just fun. It's just fun to make and to like stress test what your physics are. And it also kind of like, well, what if I want to add more mechanics, and like then you can just add more gym stuff and prove that out easily. And the cool thing about this is you're not jumping around from like map to map. You're literally all in one place to prove out mechanics. And so it's good to like not have solid borders. So like right here I have these in squares. Just be like, okay, these sections are meant for certain things. However, make sure that you can get from square to square or like area to area with ease, because you don't want to have to like have multiple like spawn points unless your gym is just way too big and you're like, okay, I want to spawn left side, right side, or whatever. But the idea would be just make it like a playground, right? Like you're like a sandbox playground for mechanics, where you're able to like walk or drive or jump from area to area effectively with whatever your game is. Yeah.
It honestly it helps yourself be more disciplined, because like part of why like I'm like really like focusing on those aspects is like I'm bad at this, and so a gym helps me like myself in mind.
Oh, you know what, dude? What would be cool is with these ramp tests is how far you can you know jump essentially. Like what is what is an easy to medium hop with these ramps to another ramp or another platform, so that we can kind
Yeah.
of test like okay, can we have kind of like a bridge type of thing where it ramps over another section of the track, just like Mario Kart has that.
No.
Yeah, like how far away can that be? I wonder if we can make like a ruler inside, like off of like Unreal units, so we can kind of know exactly, what those are.
Yeah, we can probably here. You still have that list, that Google Doc?
Which list?
You know how you had a Google Doc with just had like gym and then like bullet points?
Oh, I was making a Word document for that. If
Oh, okay.
we can
That
make a
works
Google
too.
Doc though, yeah.
Either one works. Because we can start. Because one thing we can do is that we can try and make like a simplified version right now, just like going, okay, we have this right, so we just want it to be a that, and this one I believe that, and this one I believe like that. And so what we can do though is that if we figure out, yeah, this is something that we really want to be able to like test pretty commonly, then I can spend a little bit more time to make a much easier to use one that's a lot easier to set up. So that like imagine that instead of having to worry about placing in, rotating, I can just say, okay, ramp of this angle with this much of a distance for the jump height. And then we can even have like within that, since it can have the triggers all within itself. So that way we can just like set one up at an angle and say, hey, let's see if a player can clear this, and then it'll just like print to the screen or whatever. Also, what animation do you think I should make him play when he lands? He doesn't really have any, so
There's not a specific landing animation. We should definitely make one. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be something that this one needs to be on the
yeah, I'll make his damaged one.
his damage one.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. They're not. None of them are montages yet. Do I want to make up? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Is there a general hit react or is it all directional reacts?
So currently, I have the animation blueprint blending between those two when there's a hit react, but there's no hit react montage.
Okay.
That's I think the hard thing, and also whenever I do mix them, he just says like hot place.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, cool.
And montage. I don't know what to put. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to make sure to do that though. Can I have multiple Word documents at the same time? I can. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna do the simple animations needed. I'm sure we're gonna find some stuff today. All right, so we need a landing animation for everything. We need landing. We need.
All right, are you ready to see him land?
Yeah, let's see it. Okay, nice. Yeah, he cleared that pretty easily. And I think that's important because, like, not everyone's going to be going at full speed, when they're able to do that. So I think it is important to make sure that you can clear it with ease. So that one, so we definitely need some, like the first ramp, I think is a better option. Like that kind of light ramp is probably meant for just like, okay, if you're just going up a slope, but try the middle ramp, just kind of see how that feels. Like, can you clear that with ease? Or is that first ramp just the best one?
So remember, we have to also think about, okay, well, do we want to change the properties of the racer, right, versus the ramp? That's always going to be a hard thing to figure out which to do, just because if we change a racer, okay, but if we change the ramps, that means every racer needs to know. But yeah, but like we can, for example, right, say, okay, we can like try and figure out like what minimum speed do we think this ramp should be cleared by, or this gap, right? And that can all be, we can make a little tool for all that.
Yeah.
Oh, make the test. Sorry about that.
You're good. Check
just as a yeah. Never mind.
What were you saying?
I probably Oh, I was just gonna give like the little warning of like, sorry guys, I have Tourette's, so if I make like random noises, I apologize. That's fine.
You good, dude.
So, oh dear.
Whoa.
I obviously need to make the landing animation only play when like has like a significant enough landing. You don't want him to like bump up and do that.
It feels kind of weird that he's doing it like on one side too. I feel like this kind of strange.
Well, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
sadly the animation we have. I mean, for fun.
Yeah. Is there like a squash animation? We should have a squash animation if we don't have one. What? What was that? Was that his jumping in the car?
Yep. Going-
That doesn't work.
Nope.
Oh, what about the can you do a fast the boosting animation? Because that kind of like makes him kind of crunch in a little bit and like dip. Maybe that animation would work if it's like short-lived as a landing. This is like boosting animation. At least for placeholder.
Yeah. Let me see the boost.
All right, so I want a squash animation. I'm gonna add that to my animation list that I need. Of things I need.
Unreal, why are you frozen?
Landing. Squash animation. Squash animation. Down. Weapon. Squash and stretches. Alright, cool. So yeah, landing animation, squash animation down, weapon, squash and stretches. On landing. Let's see. That'll be cool. Alright, so mechanics. We have our ramps now. We have our checkpoint playground, which is just testing. Testing checkpoints around a circle, including alternative. I'll just do alt paths. Alt paths. All right, then we have the ramp height. We should try one more ramp that's even like more steep, just to see if it's like possible to ramp up something that's more steep.
Oh. Give me 1 second. I'm modifying. This is actually a quick example. You know how earlier we had was talking about how we don't have the velocity given into that on landed events.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm adding in here.
Ramp height. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that we can that extra little bit of information.
Distance and climb. How much airtime does a racer get? How much airtime does a racer get? Ramp heights. Also how high. Can our
Okay, I wonder which value I'd like to.
go up? I think you fixed the rewriting problem, right? When you like land on your top, that you rewrite yourself automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, so that roly-poly effect, that was definitely a huge bug that we're just like, oh well, I guess I need to restart because I'm on my back. That effect especially happened when you climbed up something tall, or like you just like climbed up a ramp that's like halfway and then you flip yourself. It was easy to not be
I
able to
think
get
it's
back up.
still possible to get stuck on your back, but it's a lot harder.
Okay.
It's like you have to like perfectly land on your back. If you like land slightly non-perfectly like upside down, you'll roll over.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get this thing equipped with the file so I can I'm listening, have a little bit of extra info. That way we can just say, hey, was it big enough of a landing? And you also wanted a bigger ramp, you said, right?
Yeah, let's test a even higher ramp, just to stress test the current physics.
Yeah. For this, of course, eventually. At an angle, you want to go even higher.
Perfect. Yeah, let's try that. Are you going up a specific? Is that like 15 snapping?
I believe that's what. No, it's.
Oh, it's 10 snapping. Perfect. That's perfect. That's a great gauge. Do we want different types of vehicles to have more airtime than others? Like distance?
That could be a fun element.
Especially like flyer types might like have more airtime, perhaps.
Yeah, that actually could be a fun way of making Revenera have some uniqueness. Is that it's like she like spends a lot of time in the air.
That could be fun. Yeah.
She might have a lot more air control because that could be a fun way to make. Flyers have a lot more personality. Is that they have a lot more air control.
Like air strafing for flyer types, they can like turn in air, but also like curve perhaps in air, which is a great way for them to dodge maybe. Because like if they have less traction, I know we talked about this before. Flyer types would be knocked away, further away. So one cool thing is if they can air strafe, then they can dodge a lot more effectively when they're in the air or they take ramps. That can be a cool way to do it. Okay, what other things do we need to prove out? Let's see, acceleration. Acceleration and speed.
Okay. Okay, so it seems like we kind of land at like 700 or something, so this will only fire off if this value is greater than 0.7. All I'm doing here is just like giving a couple conditions to play the animation. So basically, so this first one here,
Accelerate. And how far can they go in time?
okay, if I can go up this one. Whee! Oh, nice. I clear it.
Nice.
Oh, I don't know if you're noticing another fun physics thing I have, but you notice when he gets close to the other ramp, he starts to like look down to like kind of match the angle.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, like auto adjusts.
Yeah, and like I can change that. If I can, man, it's been so long. I can't remember where I put everything.
Yeah, like it's interesting. It just feels a little forced, but it is interesting though. It is cool. So I don't want them to. Is that just the angle that adjusts, or do they actually start snapping to the ground?
So what it tries to do
Mm-hmm.
is essentially predict what ground it's going to be hitting. So for example, air navigation mode, if
Yeah.
I weaken this, let's say 10,
Yeah, yeah,
then he will go up, and you can see he's slightly adjusting.
yeah. I see. I see.
Versus the ballistic version, which I'm going to put this back to 25 just so we can see the strong version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe
It
because you
seems
clear
like
it too much, maybe.
so what the ballistic version tries to do is whenever you gain airtime,
Mm-hmm.
it tries to figure out where you're going to land, likely just by doing the high school math we all remember, um, and tries to like make it so that you land on like the road surface.
I see.
You see how like they're made it so that when we landed on the other ramp, we weren't like at an odd angle, if that makes sense. And so it's gonna be hard to figure out which one looks good. And so what I actually here, can you add this to the list?
For animations?
Automatic looping driving vehicles, like non-player, just like vehicles that just like drive. It's like imagine like if we could just like set up a mallet boy to automatically drive up each of these ramps, just get to like here and then reset and then do it again. That way we can just like visually watch all of them.
Okay, so that as one of the parts of the gem thing for this.
Yeah, so like just
Okay.
like vehicle like AI vehicles that we can have just like drive on like a set path or something.
So looping NPC.
Because like that way we could, for example, just be able to press just simulate, right?
Driving. Yeah.
And just like watch all 5 of them go.
Okay, that's cool. Driving over ramps.
Let me see if I can get this guy to do that.
Would it be some kind of like portal or something like that? You would like set behind you or whatever, or like as soon as he like crosses the portal, the threshold, then it automatically like spawns you back in the.
Yeah, it may be something like that. Sir?
Okay.
Did you see that?
No, what happened?
Boing.
Whoa! What?
Goodbye.
What? Why?
I think. Oh, 1 second.
The
This
springy
guy's
wheels?
like-
That was funny. I was wondering too if we could make something like it may even be something like what you're talking about, the NPC driving thing. Maybe you know how the long jump they do the long jump in track and field. I wonder if we could do something like that for acceleration and speed for the game. So there's like a starting point on that like straightaway thing that you made. And like there could be either a volume that's like, okay, once you pass this volume, then your cart will automatically stop after like 2 seconds, or maybe even 1 second. So it'll just get like full brakes, and that way you know how far you're going as far as acceleration goes, how much distance you did compared to that another racer kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
That could be an interesting way to prove that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like imagine if we were able to like say like in like this thing, right, which is like
Yeah.
the speed test or acceleration test. If
Right.
like if I can make like a simple blueprint, right, that can just like we can have like a little like even like a visible thing here, right, that we can just mess with and say, okay, click. I want this to be an AI driver, not me. I want it to test their acceleration and stop them, or whatever, or like
Right.
test these 2 racers against each other. I'll just like spawn the 2 of them there, and they'll drive.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, so that way we can like and so if we can make this straight away have like distance units, or if we can have it be like a ruler basically, then we can really measure the difference. And so basically if we're like, hey, this character's just too fast or the acceleration's too hard, then we can like literally measure it, the changes, and like nerf them essentially. You know. I wonder.
The hit boxes. Oh, that's a wall. Okay, there might be something wrong on my end to make it so that I'm not. Oh, you know what I probably need to do? I think, I think my physics stuff might be purposely not directly affecting these things. So I might need to make it so that, like, when the player collides with a physics object, it has to... It just, like, instead of, like, relying on you actually, like, hitting the other characters, hitting the, this, like, block. Because I want these to, like, go flying when we hit them, right? But I don't know why they're not, so, okay, forget about that. Okay. Yeah, the ruler, so we have that written, right? Ruler?
Yeah. Can we just build a ruler, or, like, is there a...
we can literally, like, have it be, like, that simple, right? We can say, hey, this is a ruler. So, I can just say, let's make this the gem folder, caps on.
Yeah, is there...
Let's make a ruler class.
Yeah, we should just make a ruler plane or something so you can, like, exactly tell your distance and stuff. Because, I mean, yeah, like, on the long jump for track and field, you're like, okay, this person jumped, like, 13.5, and this person jumped 12.8 or something. You can, like, legit tell, you know, which I think that would really help. Because, yeah, if we needed a nerf a character or unnerf a character, then this would be a great way to do it, is tell a distance. And also having a ruler will help us with, like, our track width, you know? Like,
yeah.
How do we feel, how wide do we feel like our track width needs to be at almost all times, right? And, like, when we make alternative paths, that kind of stuff, so yeah, ruler would actually be really helpful for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, so I just need to figure out how, like, make a nice little dynamic one. Because ideally, right, like, what I'm trying to do with these variables here, is have it be that we can just, like, set a distance, set a step, and it should just do that. Ruler start. Ruler end.
Is it gonna be a visual ruler or like a programmed, like, distance ruler or something?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay.
It's like gonna be a thing that you can place in the level and just like configure.
Okay, cool.
That way, it's like we don't have to do it multiple times.
Yeah. You will need a ruler to be able to... Yeah, I think if there's a way that you can drive, or you can drive through the volume at, like, in like, yeah, if you're able to drive through a volume that auto stops you at a specific amount of time, then that will be a good test, so that way you're not having to break and just, like, guess, you know, it's not an approximate. It's like, okay, once I pass this volume, I have 1 second, so we can test, like, acceleration and speed that way.
Yeah. I might make like that, that thing be separate from the ruler, just so that way, like, the ruler doesn't have to have that everything.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh, this is another good advice too that I'm also, like, telling this to myself. Test things step by step. Don't try and make the entire thing first. So right now I'm just trying to, okay, cool. So I can change the distance of the ruler right now. Next, I need to make the steps. Well, actually, first I'm going to make a line that goes between them. There's better ways, but this is going to be jank, so who cares?
That's cool. Yeah, I think that what I've seen, at least for the level designer people, they would like literally just make a ruler on a plane, like a texture ruler, and just have like Unreal units.
That would be so much simpler. Yeah, just like have a text so we can just scroll. Oops. Oh, I need an X-Align cube. Do you have an X-Align cube? Maya, where are you? Hey, mister. I sincerely hope I still have Maya. Yay!
Yeah, if we can make a ruler that's based off of Unreal units, that could be a great way to do it. Like,
Yeah,
um,
essentially what it's doing right now.
yeah.
So, what I'm gonna be using Maya for real quick is one thing you'll notice about, for example, these cubes is if I increase the scale of this cube, you see how it's stumped in the center?
Yes.
So if I want to, for example, like have like this like nice thin thing basically go between these two, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can like say, oh, do you want like the ruler to be like that?
Yeah, yeah.
The only issue is that I have to not only change scale, but then also change the position to where the pivot point is. But if I make a cube in here, yeah. But option mode. This is one reason, guys, why it's really useful to know a lot of different software.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's easier. So this is just a simple 1x1x1 cube. I'm gonna export this cube. Computer C dev. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to be the right direction, but who cares? Cube X aligned. I should be able to just go into our art, say
Let's see.
Well, there we go. Okie dokie. Oh, pro tip, it's not really applicable for this mesh, but actually, where's it saying? Oh yeah, generally, you want to make combined meshes checked because a common thing in Maya, right, is that people have like a few like different meshes, like create something like in a rig or just like any kind of object, right? If you export this as an FBX, you won't, and then you don't press combine meshes, you'll get these two separate pieces as two separate files, which is not what you want. Also, I generally don't like using this create new materials thing because what it tries to do is it goes, okay, let's look into Maya and look at the materials assigned to these, and I'll try and make a copy of this if it can. The problem though is that unless you're also correctly packaging somehow like packaging up the textures and every other piece that is required for this material that you're using to work, it's not the nicest thing. However, just because you don't do create new materials, it'll still keep those slots. And so if you name this just like character body material, then in Unreal it'll save it as that, but I do not want new materials, and I don't want to import textures. And I'm going to convert scene units. Because this should hopefully make it fit to Unreal size, and do import. Okay. Sadly, it's still too tiny. So let's just import scale.
Probably 100 did it, maybe.
I never know if Use my re-import button. There we go. So it's 100 by 100 by 100 now. I also am going to make him have the same base material as these guys, because I like this one. First vision, what color? When in doubt, pick blue, guys. Oh, that's weird. Is he not? Okay, so something is incorrect, as we can see, because he's not having a grid. Even... Wait, never mind. Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. I did a silly. That's more correct.
There we go.
Yeah, one nice thing about this material too is that you can besides like all this random stuff, you can change the grid. We can change the unit size. So, I'll go back to our ruler.
Awesome.
I will now have it use cube x aligned. I see, okay. So I did not make it the correct direction. It's Z aligned. Not correct. Yeah, I think I should have thought about that for longer than a second. Okay, so I believe if I make it go I also want to move its pivot to there. There we go, now it's X aligned. There we go. Now I can just have this,
Okay, cool.
direction script. I can say set scale 3D.
So is each white line a unit?
Oh! That's smart. I can make it.
Okay, yeah, sweet. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, because like that's what this material lets you do.
Yeah, like one Unreal unit for, or maybe, I don't know, you could do like, what is it currently? Is that currently already
Oh,
an Unreal
you know
unit?
how we have its value, the step here? We can just make it this number.
Okay.
We make it an integer. So first things first, let's do this. So we want hit scale 3D. Get scale. So I only want to change. I only want to change the X scale.
Okay.
I don't want to change it from, but you know, I choose from in here. And so now I need to say, okay, I have this distance divided by 100. The reason being is that since this cube, by default, right, is 100 by 100, in scale, right, is like, you know, a 1 means keep its current thing. So if our total distance is 100, then if we divide this by 100, that means we'll get a scale of 1, which is the correct value. We'll enum too. Enum called E ruler alignment. Might be excessive, but it's lots of fun. Up. Middle. Bottom.
Hey, Mel Mel.
Okay. So, this. doubt, make a new variable. What we're going to do here is grab end and start, and say set scale 3D. Okay. I want 0.5, I want 0.25, and for this, I need that number, this number, and that. Okay. So now if I change this value to 200, there you go. I'm gonna also comment this a little bit. One thing about comments is that both in C++ and in Blueprint, they're really, really, really helpful. But they're also kind of a pain because they pause you from actually doing things. But future you or anyone else will thank you.
I thought of a few more. So like, how long / distance does it take to get to top speed to test acceleration? And then also unique. So testing unique terrain types plus their sound effects when you go over those terrain types.
Okay, so how about as a sub-bullet of that, just say after that counts as a terrain type. Or something like that, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, for right now, we could literally just have like a text that says grass or something, you know.
Yeah. It could just be like, you know, a flat like cube, right?
Yeah,
We can use
yeah.
everything.
Yep.
Change the color. Not that, not that, not that.
So I'll do some sketch stuff. What's that sound?
Finally, we have.
Alright, so terrain types. Mini squares for each.
You know, sometimes the simplest math just my brain stopped working. My width. Oh. What? Yes.
I'm good at very basic math, and that's all I'm good at with math. I'm horrible at long form math.
So 0 want.
Yeah, grass type. This could be our sand type.
Okay. If it is in the top, let's do this. If it's the top, And I want to set. I don't believe I need any of those others. No. I keep clicking the wrong thing. So if my alignment is top or bottom, I want to get divided by 200. Thank you, Mr. Unreal. Then if this is equal to thing I hate about Unreal 5 that they changed is the default thing that happens when you press equals gives you something that doesn't work off an enum when it used to default to the this thing is what you want. So yeah, let's see. Our perspective, I believe this is bottom, and so the bottom is actually positive, and the top is negative. Okay. Or no, let's align it to like what makes more sense that way. Let's have positive be like top always be more positive than not. Okay. So let's select float. If it's bottom, we do -1. Otherwise, we do 1. This will get us half the width. And then we can set that to our Y location. So, I need to make sure it actually has the thing. Let's comment it before I forget to. The ruler lines. Based on alignment. Just be more nice and neat just because I'm on stream. I have pressure now. I have to look all professional. This. So we have this ruler now, and if we go here and say top, oh, I used the wrong value maybe. Maybe I don't need that. Wait, I'm silly. I don't need to do the by 100 because this isn't scale, this is actual position. Oh yeah, now it's doing it. So I'm just doing a little thing right now to make it so that when it lines up on the bottom, it doesn't like go this way. Instead, it's more like that. This visually looks nicer. Not really the most necessary thing, but I don't know. While I'm here. The nice thing is with like gym stuff, since none of it's actually going to be used in the actual, like, since it's not meant to be a part of the actual game, don't have to worry about performance. The blueprints are great because they're much faster to test with. Sorry, much faster to test with. There we go. There we go, that looks nice. So our ruler now, if I make the ruler it's 800. Doesn't anything yet. Middle and bottom. There you go. So right now, I believe it's doing every... Okay, yeah, so that's 100 units right now.
100 units. Okay, sweet. Okay. That's currently 100 units. So is each of those boxes... Is that 10 each box, essentially? Or like
100. This is 100 a box.
Oh, 100 a box. Okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Let me... Perfect. Now these should blend together.
Oh, sweet. That's cool.
It's not perfect, and we can like figure out exactly more details of it, but
All good.
now we have a thing where we can test distance. I will now add a text render. Text render. Distance. Text. So this is going to add a socket to this called box center.
Yeah, and I defined like
50.
the different train types as well, or like I put them down like, yeah, just simply. But,
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
yeah. I was looking at, yeah, Mario Kart references and explanations of different road types and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
render. Let's say attach to component. Bucket name is center, right? Yeah. Box center. If it was successful.
Okay, let's see.
So, a ruler is doing that, so I can go boop. Okay. I know that's a long time to get a ruler done, but
It's cool. I'm doing stuff as well on here.
should just be like a hopefully nice little thing. So now let's stick this ruler actually. Place this one. And I know this isn't a perfect implementation. Sorry if I just want it. Why are you so tiny, Mr. Text? It does take time to make these nice little tools. Let's see. What else was on that list of things? Can you pull it up again?
Oh, I just had this. Hold on. I was just starting it basically. Oh, that's not it. The other one.
Or you can send me the Google link too.
Yeah, here, let me. I should make it a Google doc. Hold on a second. I have it as a Word document. Let me make it a Google link.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm prepping it now. What's up?
I just had the gameplay play like normal, and for some reason I think because something had changed after the timer went. My like guy just like kept going because I did this. It restarted me. And like, but the other guy's still going.
Flip share. So this would be mechanics gym, chaos cart. Okay. Let me give you access.
Oh, oops.
You're good. Here. Text me your email in Discord. I can add you on here. Alright, thank you. Oh my gosh, it won't. Literally won't allow me to paste. Okay, whatever. Okay, here you are. Okay, have you as an editor. Share. Okay, I'm just gonna start building it out. So right now, copy, paste.
Why not?
Testing each ring types. Mechanics gym. All right, cool. I sent enough to you.
That and now begin.
Let's see here.
was the same.
I need to remind myself of all the mechanics we have. Like, or status
Yeah.
effects, I mean. Like, so, you remember the status effects sheet I was making?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to open that up again to make that part of the gym. What did I call that? Status effects design doc, okay. I'm kind of wondering about some of these status effects, if they're just like just over the top or, you know, extra that we don't need.
Yeah, I think some of them like speed. It's hard to tell, because like it's fun to think of all of them, but then it's like, okay, well, but how many of them would actually lead to an interesting gameplay change?
Yeah.
Versus like what would be potentially frustrating.
Right. Let's see. So some of these status effects are going to be similar to the actual rough terrains. Like Frozen could be similar. Well, I'll have other effects too, but let's see.
There should. Wait, let me
I like the idea of Rust still, which is kind of like my version of like Brittle from League, where it's like you're more susceptible to melee attacks and stuff during that certain time. But that might be something that only certain characters can do, not like a terrain or something. Like it just leaves you more brittle or more damageable by melee for a short time or something. And maybe some kind of like
just try and like clump them up and like, hey, these ones seem to have similar. And like start to see like if you're having like some clustering of ideas, right? Then you might be able to come up with one that maybe like encapsulates them all, or yeah.
True. Yeah.
I have a time gate now. Let's see if it behaves. There you go, 2.55 seconds.
What'd you do? Oh, is it a timer?
I put myself here and go through this. I entered and I cleared.
Is this like a distance thing or like a time thing? Oh, it's time based off of like when you enter and leave?
Yeah, so you just move this one around.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, you just like you see in the component view how you can like move them outside the actual actor. If that's what you need to do.
Is there okay? So it'd be cool to see how far you can clear like the straightaway, or like, for instance, how would we test like acceleration as far as like how far you need to go to get the top speed kind of thing? How would that be tested? Because this is really cool for
Huh?
like distance for time. Um,
Yeah, at least right now,
that's cool. That's awesome.
right now this is it. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
um,
Yeah, is it
but
like, oh, can you tell from just like numbers, like, okay, you can get the top speed in like 5 seconds or something like that, or like,
yeah, so here, let me double check this. Let's call this MB acceleration, and we can just go into Malboy's. Just change his acceleration curve specifically.
hmm,
I haven't messed with them too much, so it's like gonna probably a bit funky, but so if we look in here, so this is trying to say if I'm at 0, it should take 2 seconds to get to full speed. Or yeah. So what this is saying is that I'm pretty sure it says that. So if I make this 4,000, for example,
mm-hmm.
does oh yeah, whoa.
Whoa.
Okay, so that's max speed then.
Yeah, it's like,
So these values are like how powerful just by default is the engine, right?
mm-hmm.
And then this is like how hard it scales based upon what speed you're doing. So I believe if I make this lower, try that again, I'll still be like speeding up, right? But you
Yeah.
see how like it took longer to reach that max speed?
Oh yeah.
Versus if I make this go back to 2000, I have that lower number. Like I'm still accelerating.
It's weird that it stops.
But if yeah, I need to figure that out. That's probably just gonna be like a deep dive thing. I think probably whenever we get off stream, I'm probably gonna handle that.
Okay.
It's gonna be a lot of boring code debugging.
Okay.
So this is back to his normal acceleration. I need to figure out which one is probably next to use because like I feel like a curve like this, if we're able to say okay, how was that there? Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So those curves, okay, I think I know exactly what's causing that. That stuttering, the starting and stopping. You see how I don't have it right now?
Yeah.
That's because I'm having it not use a curve. I'm having it use a flat value right now. And so I think what's happening is that whenever it reaches like near max speed, it like I think is like a all of a sudden stopping acceleration. Okay.
Okay.
Once I figure that out, because like right now I believe this is just using only acceleration. So if I make this 10,000. Okay.
Jeez. Thank you. Okay, I have about 15 more minutes before I need to end the stream
Okay.
because of the meeting. Let's see. This has been a fun one. I think it'd be really cool to continue this
Yeah, for sure.
stuff.
Get that clicked right. Yeah, you do. Yeah, so that's definitely what's happening. So I changed this curve's like max time to be 4 seconds now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking him 4 seconds to reach a top speed of 5,000. Um,
Okay.
but if you notice, after that 4 seconds, we get a hiccup.
Oh yeah.
Or like basically once we get close to that, oh no. Uh,
Real quick, um, these status effects, a lot of them are probably just going to be like champion abilities and stuff like that. Should should that be a thing we just test in the gym? Do you think? Like we're like a
yeah, we
lot
can
of
have it. We
abilities.
can have like a mini gym per character.
Oh, per character.
Yeah, so like you know how we're gonna have like the combat kind of gym section.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we can just have oh no. Have it be there.
Okay. Yeah, like are you able to see what I'm up to or what my screen? Or like what's
Um,
probably off in the
I can only see through the stream, which has that delay.
Okay, do you see the status effects stuff that I'm looking at?
Yeah, you're listening to them. I see like a 0 beneath each one. What does that mean?
Yeah, that was kind of my idea was like say you have a little bit of runway and that is like the pickup like box kind of thing you just drive through to hit that effect.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So it could be like it could be a whole like, normal box line like that. That might be easier. Um,
like these things.
yeah, but we could have the name and maybe even a slight description of what it is. And like this could be just a fun way to like go through like all these different status effects. Um, but I just don't know if it's like should we just have it in a line like this so it's all easy and all in one place, or just do like the main status effects here. What do you think?
Um,
Should
I
we
think
do
like that like specificness of like where exactly will the pads be positioned. I think is. I don't need to worry about that. We can just say okay.
yeah.
They will there'll be a section right of a bunch of like things to apply the status effects, and that's all we need to like figure out.
Right. I'm just like, because I have like a bunch of status effects. It'd be kind of fun to test and stuff like that, or see if they're even like useful or cool or whatever. Like, should I
Yeah.
just have them lined up like I'm currently doing, or like in rows of 2 or whatever, just down the line, and just
Sure, yeah, we can just have them arranged and like, or just like, because after all, like you can just change whatever status effect something has by changing what's in here.
mm-hmm.
We can have the this thing. You can just grab information from the effect,
Right.
like lit.
Right.
So we can even like switch which effects are active. Um, like the gym doesn't have to have like every single last thing. It just needs to be a place where we can test things. And so
Right.
if we can just have like a bunch of pads and say, okay, I want to switch these to these ones and test these ones.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay. Cool. That'd be good. All right.
it's fun to be a lot faster.
Yeah.
Because I think turning, more turning, steering. There's another curve for it. So we're
Steering.
I'm not exactly sure how it results because this is like some funky like integrals or something. Yeah, this is 0. This is 0.8. What if I make this value? Oh, this number. Oh, it's a weird curve. Okay, let's see what happens. Versus. Okay, yeah, you see, that's a much weaker turn. Versus having.
Oh yeah. I can see it.
Like, you accelerate into your turn a lot faster. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fidgeting and playing around. I'll probably see like need your help a bunch, just like mass try out the curves and mess with the curves.
Yeah. Totally.
That's how like we're really gonna like get the feeling right. Because like for example, like a lot of these accelerations, right, are pretty like flat, right? It's like oh look, it just goes straight up to there. But for some kicks and giggles, what we could do is what if this is more me just messing around for fun now, just see what happens. What if I do that? Wait, is he using Malvoid too? Yeah, he is. Okay. So that seems like it just make him accelerate a lot harder into his initial thing. 2000. I think doing this will make him accelerate to like his halfway point a lot sooner and then gradually get to that. So you know what, let's just place you there, let's just go. What does that do? And then slow.
Oh man.
Best way to drive with this is just do that and that.
That the way it slows
Only
down
goes
is
fast
when
when
the
you're
client side of multiplayer kind of like just dips.
Yeah.
Oh
Well.
man.
Yeah, this is obviously not the curve you want.
Right.
Yeah, let's put him back to normal acceleration. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna come up with some more ideas of like maybe on this mechanics sheet, or the mechanics gym sheet. If you have any more ideas, then definitely put them on this this form. Here, I'll send
Yeah.
you the link real fast. There's the link for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so yeah, any ideas we have for the gym, just place it on here, like driving and turning with the track, all that stuff. What feels comfortable for turning speed. Yeah, all the things we want to test. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that'll be good. And then yeah, we can do some more stuff. Probably if you have time tomorrow evening or Thursday morning or something like that, we can kind of figure that out. But
Sounds good.
Sweet. All right. Yep. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna head out, and I'll see you on the next one.